Do you ever stay up at night wondering about the fact that people make animated Disney bootlegs about real-life tragedies? Just me? We can change that. So there's this bootleg shady side to everything that comes out. Asylum films and animated kids products, it's always a bizarre place. However, within that there's an almost creepypasta-esque niche where the kids products are extremely dark and grossly inappropriate. Why does this Lion King game have characters attempting to suicide during the game overs? Why do these Brinkado bootlegs make racist comments to the Chinese? And why does the disaster of the Titanic attract these specifically Italian animation bootleggers so much? We have 3 of them today. All 3 of them have some unintentionally terrifying bootleg things too. Cultish talking animals, rapey sex maniac love interests, a Karen as the villain, ditzy thought as the main lead, erasing the actual events and the danger of the iceberg with a magic excuse that is ultimately blamed on humans with a giggle from the animals as the movie ends. That last one was oddly specific. So let's get into it. The worst is yet to come. Titanic The Legend Goes On is a name that you probably heard a bunch of times. This one has done the rounds, but it is definitely bad. It opens right in the middle of the party with the damn boat sinking into the giant swimming pool of the earth as everyone just hangs around on other boats. You know, for a tragedy where all of the people almost died, they seem very happy. I mean, these 2 clones of Facebook grandmas are having a jolly good show while this guy drowns. Flashbacks? Okay, so yeah, this is Cinderella as well. Another Facebook grandma clone and these 2 abortions are being mean to this girl because bad guys.
Stop moping over that picture. You're never going to find your precious mother.
Your precious mother!
I noticed that a huge thing in these is an attempt at Disney, but everything is just off. Like, the weird triangle eyes and the lips. Not to mention apparently that this town just looks fucked up. I guess some weird science experiment went on here. Alright, so yeah, the main plot is introduced as this bitch with her dollar store locket looking ass is searching for her mom and dad somehow with no resources and only... it just... So I guess the food boards beforehand as guests too before they cook them. So you get your typical knockoff Disney hijinks and hey, you know what, let's make it a game. So I'll show you this scene again and you tell me in the comments how many knockoff beloved characters you see. The winner gets depression. Also, if you're wondering, yes, One Direction over here does have some musical numbers and they all suck. So for some time and space fuckery reason, Angelica, the main lead, lost her locket from some time between the train and the ship, which is so strange because it's typically situated around her neck. The way that these characters move is so disgusting. It's like they have no bones and you can almost hear the sound of squishy slime as their bodies shrink and contract and gyrate back and forth to the tune of the screams from the damned. They manage to board and the mice go and get organized, and our main characters find the room in which Karen Supreme promptly breaks some of the property to assert dominance? Hold up. So you just broke some of the property in this hotel service, and once the staff find out, they're going to obviously charge you for the damages of objects on this premises that don't belong to you. And you could blame it on this bitch, but she's clearly not the one who has the main accounts with the money, so it's gonna come out of your pocket, and your rich looking ass is the one who's gonna pay for it. Congrats, you absolute brainlet. So now we catch up with the mice and they want to have a party, but these 2 lobotomites decide that they want to have something a little more non-vegan, but luckily my main man Pookie just jumps in at the same time. I guess Joe Pesci and friends are on board now as well, because these thieves are specifically coming to board and steal jewelry, and there's another Karen with them. Luckily, there's a detective closely behind to find them.
Special Detective Sam Bradbury.
Oh my god.
Sam to my friends, a threat to my enemies.
That's how I introduced myself to boys. So the thieves try to sneak into the room of a potential victim, and luckily there's a black void.
They all back to me.
What's going on? This is like a student film. Gunshot then fade to black. I bet you are gonna get an ill-timed Dutch angle at some point. What is a bootleg movie with a ditzy protagonist with an extremely rapey love interest named William in this case, who's traveling with a nanny?
You mustn't dwell on her, nanny.
Oh, you're into that, huh? Okay. The nanny is another Karen, but it's okay because she's chaotic good. She also mentions that she lost a daughter years ago. I wonder if that'll come back.
Wonder if my little girl has had a proper education. Expect I'll never know.
William sees that this little girl that looks like a cross between Patty, Alfred E. Newman, and Big Mouth lost her ball on the decks below. So he goes down to retrieve it and then completely forgets about her because the person he's stalking is there too. Romance ensues?
I was too busy looking for someone. Now that I've found her, I'm not going to let her get away from me again.
There's a problem, the actual dance as well, because What's-Her-Face has nothing to wear. Fear not, chaotic good Karen has a come-stay-in dress for you.
Worn this since my poor Francis took me to the opera for the first and last time.
So basically what's happening with the thieves in the meantime is that they got a hold of the locket after the bird took it, and it ended up on the singer's body, and then she finally gets it back, but there's a minor confrontation when the singer lady is like, "This bitch stole my locket, innit?" And the chick's like, "No, but it's originally mine." And the detective's like, "Shut it, thoughts," and then it straightens out. But luckily the iceberg is here to break up this extremely awkward party. Everybody's trying to get out, and then William tries to smash this extremely resistant glass with an indestructible barrel. What are you playing, fucking Gmod? Stop. But oh no, for a second it seems like they've lost each other. But the blob monster found her love after all. And finally
Wait a minute, where are you going? The movie isn't over yet. Don't you want to know what happened to everybody?
No. Believe it or not, that's not the worst one, because this one has a hentai octopus. The Legend of the Titanic, because there has to be a legend for it to go on. This one actually is told by the mice of this film and bookended by this room, I guess. The grandpa explains.
All misunderstanding. One of these days I'll tell you the whole story. It all began long ago in England.
In a terrible old man voice that sounds like a woman. It sounds like me. Let me try and dub over it. The Titanic sunk because that bitch took the kids. Yeah, the iceberg was just acting out, guys. Just a tsundere. The kids also look fucking awful too, like this one in the red looks like he's a couple sandwiches short, if you know what I mean. So our ditzy bitch in this one is Elizabeth, who gets out of a car, has to marry someone she doesn't love, and that guy is the villain. At least the bootleg knows how to bootleg. The villains in this case look like Hispanic Solid Snake, and he has the facial expressions of a JoJo villain. Honestly, it's dumb, but he's entertaining. She, however, says that she'd rather die than marry him. That can be arranged. Her dad is not having it.
Rather die than marry that horrifying, disgusting old serpent.
Elizabeth, don't be impertinent. You have a position to keep up. Your stepmother and I simply want what's best for our little girl.
The dad's voice acting is equally as horrible, and his mouth is the only thing that moves. So the mice just talk about the ship. That's all they do. They read names and talk about ships. The roll call sucks too. None of these are puns. It just sounds like a menu.
Featuring Parmigiano, Pecorino, Gorgonzola, Kaiser with adjunct Shlomo and Becky Boydsil.
So Lizzie, who's outside waiting for boarding, sees one of the gypsies, and this guy's cravat is a tablecloth. He sicks his dog on her and enjoys being petted a little too much before snatching her glove and...
Come here, boy. Good boy. What a lovely soft coat you have. There, that's better, isn't it?
He tries to keep the mementos of his kills, I guess. Oh, so this guy has 7 million names.
My good man, you happen to be addressing Don Juan Tenorio, Diariarte Gonzalez.
The staff gets angry at the dog as it goes to board with the other passengers and acts like he can't do anything about it, even though he's the staff and he could clearly get the dog and the owner escorted off the ship. But he just lets the dog pee on him and throws his hat in the water. Solid Snake wants exclusive whaling rights, and shocker, his scheme is to marry Liz and get the inheritance to achieve that. His henchman is constantly doing the shekels pose, and of course we see the CGI ship, and it is glamorous. The last movie didn't have a CGI ship. The captain is also having a little hissy fit because he doesn't want to go onto the party.
There's only one thing worse than a party, and that's a gala evening. Mr. Craig, have me called for any problem whatsoever, and if there aren't any, make one up.
And the mice are having their own party, only for 2 of them to go to peep up the skirts of the humans in the other party.
She's as beautiful as a picture and as fiery as the fish out of Kanioka. I'll see her in my dreams for the rest of my life.
One of the mice falls in love with the human chick. No, I will not have mouse movie. I already narrated the entirety of B movie. I will not have mouse movie.
Hate to be a spoilsport, but I would like to draw to your attention the fact that she's a woman and you're a mouse.
Well, there's one thing I'm not, and that's a racist.
She leaves the party and goes to blatantly stare at the ocean, and she starts crying, as you do. And then, flying talking dolphins. So the dolphins are afraid of the sharks because their friends the whales are being hunted by the sharks and the snake guy, while the Shekels guy, the henchman of the snake guy, is actually friends with the sharks, and they're in a gang so he can get them to get the iceberg to make the ship go boom because they're in a gang. So the sinking of the Titanic was caused by the tunnel snakes the entire time. She can also hear the mice now, and they're giving her relationship advice.
Of course I'm going to fight. Now I know you two are on my side.
Good luck with that. Also, don't bonk him on the noggin like that, fucking asshole. So she finally goes on to tell the dad again that she doesn't want to marry the evil dude. Remember how 5 minutes ago he was unmovable in his position? Now it's like, I don't like that cunt. Kalo. They show the two of them making up, and then we get to see what happens to the villains. The hallway is shown at a really bad Dutch angle, oh my god, we have it. And then Snake teleports into the middle, and the fucking mice assault him, and then he flies away on a food cart and fucking dies. Why are they laughing? They don't know he's the bad guy, they're just accosting him. Meanwhile, Ass Cravat is sniffing the damn glove again, and then he meets Lizzie. They also do the no music dance, and every animal suddenly teleports to the ship. Everyone fucking teleports. Is this Cube? Is this Looper? Is this Hypercube? So Snake was actually hired by the Karen's stepmother because the two of them are working in league, and they go hold up the dad at gunpoint to sign the paperwork and then kidnap him. Then the fucking dumbass mice go chew through the cables in the communications room. Like, you know that's stupid, right? Then the Shekels guy says that the sharks have to sink the ship at midnight. I don't know why, but they do. The fucking sharks have a meeting of arranging the iceberg. Like, you can just do that? Can you order those? Is that like an Amazon service?
After we've arranged for the iceberg to appear in front of the ship, we'll hold the rudder in our teeth.
Arranging the iceberg actually involves them finding this retarded octopus named Tentacles, who they trick into an iceberg throwing contest, which results in the sinking of the Titanic. Because the villains know about this, they escape before, and panic ensues, with the mice realizing that they're idiots, and they get this fat mouse to come in and fix it. And he decides there's only one way to fix it and fucking dies. But not to worry, the lifeboats arrive, and they have—
There's room for everyone!
So all of those real people died for nothing. The dolphins then chew the octopus out because he's an idiot, and then he sulks before realizing that he needs to help, and puts the damn ship back together and sulks again.
The truth is, it's all my fault.
No, Tentacles, it's not your fault.
Here's the thing, it is. Then he holds his breath underwater for some reason and helps save the whales and fucking dies again. Everyone dies, but the lovebirds make it and they kiss, and then everyone gets on Tentacles, who's not dead now, and they talk about the whales forever.
Tentacles is alive! Look out there on the whales! Oh, the others are alive too!
But that's it? Man, I love murder before bedtime. Wow, I'm really fucking tired now. Bye. Tentacolino is highly anticipated follow-up to it, and the last movie in this video. Even though that's only 3 years later, we're now in this sci-fi age. It's like fucking Ender's Game all of a sudden, and they're in cyberpunk shit with underwater vessels. The couple and their dog, who I forgot about but apparently can talk now, are going to look for the ship.
It seems to me there are a lot of nasty looking sharks out there.
The prince brushes him off. Oh yeah, he's a prince, I forget.
We're at sea. This is their home. Honestly, there really isn't anything to worry about.
Sharks indeed. They're worse than cats.
And doesn't care, even though he knows it's a perfectly valid threat considering the last movie. There's more CGI that looks like it's like the shitty 4th Harry Potter game on the GameCube, you remember that? And suddenly, rapping shark.
Yo, look at my teeth. They're so sharp and white.
So he's a sea captain now, and he wants his gang to attack the submarine because he hates the color yellow.
Are you sure it's yellow? I hate that color. I can't stand yellow.
The sharks chew on the cables this time, and everyone inside is panicking except this asshole. He's creepier than before. He keeps saying stay calm in a passive-aggressive way to everyone over and over again and never helps.
Happening.
Calm down, Smile. Relax. It must have been an underwater current.
Anyway, the reason that the shark can't outright kill them is because he needs to brush his teeth.
Right now, I have to go and brush my teeth.
Snake and Shekels from the first movie are still scheming with the sharks too, and they have their mini submarines alert.
Want our mini submarines to be in a permanent state of alert.
Tentacles comes back and tries to help, even though he lifted up the whole last ship before, but he can't lift up the submarine this time. So he calls Mad Max Water Edition to help, and one of them has a hairspray bottle to create air bubbles for them and take them to the city.
Help! I'm dead!
Keep calm, you're all safe.
No, I'm dead! And you're taking me to doggy hell.
You're already in it. You always have been. At Atlantis, they say that they gotta drink this suspicious green piss and keep telling each other to calm down.
Of course. Keep calm.
He says everything here moves and thinks down here, we all float, and yet certainly that's wrong. And then they meet some sentient toys and walk into a Death Grips music video.
Everything lives, moves, and thinks, even if it seems impossible at times.
Here is a surprise. You can thank your lucky stars that I have saved your lives.
The water is fresh, you can swim around at the fish hotel. It's a real
What? Yeah, dude.
Up there, you can't go back.
Now you gonna fucking tell me? They go to meet the king to verify this news.
Apologies for the lack of tact displayed by our counselor when he gave you the news.
On the contrary, it's better that we were told about the situation right away. And I have to say your counselor informed us in the most amusing way, which helped us all to see the benefit.
So if you're in a basement, if the serial killer just tap dances to you while he tells you how he's gonna kill you, you should just accept it. Meanwhile, the dog meets another dog. There's a racist Chinese mouse who was also there. It reminds me of that one thing from when the Game Grumps played Dog Island. There was that one Chinese dog and Aaron did the racist voice. Only this is a real movie.
Hey, you can never be too prudent. After you, everything is ready. It's open, but you can trust us, you know. Get out of here, go! And take the flask with you!
The plot here is that there's an evil gang of rats that somehow ended up in the Atlantis area as well, and they want to leave, but they also are wanting to get this elixir of life and use it on all of the rats to overpower themselves. They also know the shark gang and want to kill the octopus, but then again so do I. So they get pissed at the dog for skipping the meetings, and the good mice snitch to the humans who snitch to the king, whose chair is sentient. Every day and night in this slow, agonizing passage of time, I find a resonating, resounding ache in the empty caverns of my chest, down to the shriveled flesh and twisted tubes of the vessel which once held my hope, now broken. Green piss. The dolphin then reassures them that no one in Atlantis has a license for that screwdriver.
If they dismantle me with a screwdriver, I'll die!
They'll have to have a screwdriver, and down here in Atlantis there are no screwdrivers. They've all been banned!
The king then does the switcheroo thing like from the SpongeBob episode of Atlantis, where they just switch out the bubbles with the fake one because they know SpongeBob is an idiot and will break it. That's gonna apparently deter the rats. So the rats steal the water and the Atlantis...
We'll replace the flask of elixir with a false one, which will be full of water.
I'm ready to serve, Your Majesty.
We must prepare for battle.
All we have to do is win.
People chase after them and the dog has a gun. And then the general says attack in the middle of the attack.
A little girl. Little one. I appreciate your effort, but this is no place for someone like you. What is your name, my child?
For the love of broken bagpipes, I'm the commander of the mountain artillery troops. It's a curse, not a discard.
So with this we are now immediately a general of the army. They zap the bad guys with Obliviate to make them forget everything. The rats then try to test out the elixir by drowning one of their own and then get kicked out when they realize that it's not the case. As a reward, the Atlanteans rebuild the entire Titanic and make the main characters go to a secret island where they're immortal but no one can get to them and they can't leave, and force them to stay there forever.
This is a secret island, unreachable by anyone, and here you will live happily ever after.
And that's it. How do you follow that up? How does one follow up this whole thing, honoring these masterpieces? You don't.